Johnny Walker with the HoloSale, and I'm going to let Johnny introduce himself and his technology. He is actually, I believe, on his technology right now, which restricts him from being able to show his um, picture or share his video. So
Yeah.
go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, I apologize. My it's actually all our company policy is that Microsoft we don't let any not just Microsoft, any other SaaS company have access to any of our cameras. Once you see what we do, I think everybody will get why. Excuse me, I have to follow the real life Tony Stark, so it's going to be a hard one. My name is Johnny Walker. I'm an old terminal lance corporal from the Marine Corps, so I'm a little rough around the edges. I apologize. I'm looking at the people attending. So all these officers on here, you're dealing with a terminal lance corporal with no good cookie. However, I did do most of my career in maritime. I was on the Featured on Science Channel. I was the Marine Operations Superintendent for the busiest port in the Western Hemisphere for quite a while. It would bounce back and forth depending on the year. What we have here today, I'm very proud of. Me and my team have created. We're a small, very small tech company. We're veteran founded, Marine, Navy Corpsman, Navy navigator, and a first responder, former EMT, and one civilian. We originally started this out to be a TOS system and a port community system, which means terminal operating system. And it grew into something much different than what we thought it would. At the time, everybody was focused on blockchain and decentralization with blockchain, and they were trying to fit a square into a circle, and we decided to figure out how to just make a square. So what we've come up with before I even get into this is we've made a decentralized cloudless computing ecosystem, which can be used for cybersecurity, cyber warfare, secure communications, operations management, surveillance for intelligence. It can also allow for disparate systems. Let's say an Army satellite wants to talk to a Marine Corps or a Navy satellite. Um, in this ecosystem, they can both talk into the ecosystem. The ecosystem will let them communicate in real time, which we don't have right now. This also could work for, let's say, different weapon systems or different languages or joint forces with NATO or Five Eyes or any of our allies. Um, Also, since we don't use blockchain and it's decentralized, we're able to run AI, CPU, GPU combination, GPU, TPU, which is the new one coming out, quantum, CAD, video, audio, secure phone calls, pretty much any advanced technology you can think of, we can put into this ecosystem. And without further, I'll try to get I'm going to start sharing some slides real quick. Now, I don't want to be fear-mongering, so picture the lightning nice and friendly and happy. Um, and the cloud, real fast, what happened? I mean, if you can just take a step back in time, I'm old enough to be taught by the old school guys and young enough to see technology come to where it's at. So I'm blessed in that area. But I remember, when I first met my wife, waiting for the, AOL email to come. I didn't have to worry about spam. I didn't have to worry about any of that. And I knew it was her, and I knew if I clicked on something she put in the email, I wouldn't, be subject to cyber attack. And as technology grew, the internet grew, we needed more data points. So what happened was eventually the cloud. That's how we store data points. And I'm just going to go right past this because you all know what the problems are with our current system and all of the different troubles that you're going through, especially here in the United States. We are definitely behind on cyber warfare.
All
Um,
right, Johnny, it's Eugene, real quick. Um, just want to remind you, be sure to pause occasionally. And there's a lot of new people in the audience, so I want to to reinforce the fact that if you have a question, please do not hesitate to raise your hand. We want to capture those at the time that they occur and have those discussions before we move on.
Oh, sure. I apologize, Eugene. I'm on a single window with Teams here, so I can't see
Understand?
if some. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. So our mission really is private ownership and control of your own data. And we do that, like I said, through a decentralized cloudless environment. We're not trying to get rid of the cloud. We're not trying to compete with the cloud. We're trying to offer a solution that can coexist with what you already built, any IT solution you already have, whatever comms you already have. We have an environment that you can actually, an ecosystem, is rather a better term for it, that you can run that. So if you've already spent 3 years building something on an AWS, we're not going to be like, oh, you've got to use our systems. However, we do have a whole suite of different systems, IT systems and solutions that you can use. And I'll get into that later. But you can also already use what you've built in our ecosystem, and we can provide it decentralized, privatized. Your data is your data, only you see it, or the people that you just decide you want to see it sees it. And it's impossible even for us to see your data. It's actually decentralized. I'll get a little bit more into it. Really fast. It can go from something as small as the Raspberry Pi I have sitting next to me to a cell phone, all the way to a data center. We can do this across the board, or for like uh, uh, Dr. Bill's factory. We can run it for a factory. We can run it for an entire multitude of data centers, or just two cell phones if you want, or a drone. It's not really the scalability is limitless. The challenges, I've already kind of talked to about it, and I really think you guys you all probably have experienced these enough. I don't want to pound, pick at scabs. Data privacy and compliance. That is insecurity vulnerabilities with red salt to salt typhoon. We still haven't fixed the SolarWinds hacks, all of that. I'm not going to get into it. The vendor lock-in is something where is basically where, let's say you're running a large you know GPU AI model, and one day your cloud service was $2,000, the next day is $23,000 because of the points of data that you're storing. We don't have, you won't worry. We have, the ability to run the data points at a set price, and you never have to worry, and you can add more data points because it's decentralized. And so that's one, we'll just get out of that negative and get into good things. So it is a cloudless digital environment. We call it a HoloStack. Um, and HoloStack, let me go to a different slide. It's a little bit more. Um, this right here to the left is how cloud computing works. You have your servers, your database, your devices, your networks, your architects. On the right is how our system actually works. We call HoloStacks. Trident is our personal use, but we can design this for any IT solution. Um, if I would like to ask everybody to use your imagination, the diagram on the right, our system is more three-dimensional. It's hard to even put a diagram on how it works on a two-dimensional slide on a PDF, PowerPoint, or Kavanaugh, or whatever. So if you look here on our side, you'll see each one of the big blocks represents a hollow stack, and we also have what's called hollow safes. Those would be the blocks that come off of the different colors. Now, you can visualize this as almost like a bank, and safety deposit boxes. So the each one of those different colors is your bank vault, and then you have multiple safety deposit boxes. We'll just say I'm a Marine, so I'm going to stick with Marine additives. We'll just pick the red one there. You have, Marine Corps headquarters and command. You're gonna have a service element. You're gonna have your grunt element, and you're gonna have your intelligence element, your recon element. Um, you can share your service element over here. Let's say the yellow is the army, and they're really short on, we'll just say 5.56 rounds, and they need some 5.56 rounds. And the armory over here, they have 5.56 rounds. Well, you don't want to let them know how many 40 mics you have, or tow missiles, or whatever. You can just say, hey, show, um, this person in this hollow stack and this hollow safe want that one little portion of data. And what happens is it goes into this our hollow app, which never stores data. All it does is permission you to move that data over to the person you authenticated to move it to. And if you do need to talk to somebody outside of the system, you'll see this arrow with the little green circle. That green circle is the diagram over to the left, because the rest of the world is going to be working on cloud computing and etc. The arrow only goes one way for a reason. There is no way back into the system. You can say, okay, I want to show 556 to somebody over here, how much I have, and the internet, but that's all they'll ever see. There's no way for them to use that as a back door back into through the system. It can only go out. Um, I'm gonna pause there and go ahead and see if there's any questions. Okay, so some of the things that we've
All
had,
right, this is Eugene. So, on what scale does that work? I mean, can I limit IP addresses? Can I limit
yes, that's a great question.
countries, organizations?
That is a great question, and actually, it gets into the. I can get that into that a little bit. Actually, this slide here shows. You can see some screenshots of what we have actually. Like these are screenshots of our tech actually being in use. We have IP blocking, we have IP. You don't need a VPN for our technology. VPNs are 2009. They're not really as secure as most people think. We've actually had a project that the requirement was no VPNs. One of the reasons why VPNs are dangerous is if you're in a contested area that our adversaries control their internet and telecoms. All of the internet, all of their telecoms goes through government monitoring, and it's all government owned. If you want to operate in that area, our system can actually utilize their own infrastructure without them knowing that we're sending anything. Almost kind of like hijacking. Um, Similar to that movie Independence Day, when the aliens use our own satellite system to do the countdown for themselves. That's how we call it a tunnel. I can't really get in too much further than that without an NDA signed. My lawyers and my other colleagues would kill me. Um, but inside of this, we have peer-to-peer direct video and audio chat, meaning there's no server at all. It's literally device to device, and we utilize that what I just mentioned, that the tunnel technology that we have to do that. Nobody can see it. Nobody knows it even happens. And once you hit hang up, there's no call. It's just ones and zeros that dissipate into the universe. Digitalized file transfer storage. This can be CAD files. This can be plans. This can be schematics. This can be anything you want, basically. Document project collaboration. We have systems where you can actually, it's just like, Teams or, Salesforce or Monday, all these other things where you can actually work with your team on a document and then store that directly into a HoloSafe or HoloStack that you want to, and keep it in the HoloSafe. You can actually work in the HoloSafe with only other people that you've authorized to be in that HoloSafe. Customized and private data collection analytics. That is, we have the ability to run AI decentralized, which, if people understand machine learning, even with GPT and the TPU and quantum, AI machine learning will always have a bias if you do centralized linear data points. Um, uh, if you run AI decentralized, and they're not just doing linear data points. It's still AI, but I like to call it's more of a DI, it's more of a digital intelligence. And it will prevent, well, it won't prevent, but it'll at least let the human coder know that machine learning bias is happening and you're getting false data from the AI. And you can pinpoint where that machine learning is going off track and fix it. Um, the rest is just security intelligence and AI integration. I already touched on the AI. The security really lies in the fact that it is decentralized. We actually put a false flag patent out. Everything we have is filed with our IP lawyer for trade secret. We put a patent out because when we first started Trade Lens, which was a joint venture between two larger companies, was trying to use blockchain to in logistics, and they ended up going out of business. We were able to build what they tried to build on 0.0054% of the budget and 2.5 years faster, and we built more than what they built. This graph, I will make this available to Eugene to share with everybody. It's a lot to take in for a presentation. We've got pretty much, you're going to see a lot of what you're used to, ransomware protection, brute force protection. Our system does pen testing on its own already all the time. It's actually built into the system. All right, so HoloStacks. Oh, I'll pause. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Howard, go ahead.
You're obviously transferring information across the net. That vague concept. What prevents it from being copied, cloned, taken other places? Because it is while it is in transfer across the net.
So the way we've handled that, and actually we've actually tested this in a very highly contested area and telecom environment. And I unfortunately, Colonel Sanders wouldn't tell you how he makes his chicken, but it is through our tunnel system. What we did was we basically utilized we used their own network and made it so that uh, the encryption inside was encased with something that looked normal. And even if they were to incept the encryption, we have a fail-safe in the system that if it's incepted by something other than the person that you're authorized to be using, the data will not transmit until it finds a safe route. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, and I realize I'm asking, that IP specific information, so
Right.
understood.
I hope that answered the question. I tried to answer the best I can. But basically, in the end, how we do it is unique. But also, I can tell you, the system knows right away. So like we have anti-spoofing on the devices that we issue out, meaning that nobody can replicate the device. That is also IP specific. But it is basically kind of like an advanced geofence, to be honest with you. And so if Howard, if I were to use our peer-to-peer system with you, um, and if anybody tries to spoof you, our system will know right away it's not actually you, and the data will just dissipate, just like if you hung up the a normal hollow call, a phone call. If that, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, yeah, I think it does. So basically, but there's hardware involved, and unless somebody, if somebody hasn't cloned your hardware, that only authorized, and I take it each hardware piece, there's got to be some kind of security type stuff inside of it too. So it got I get what you're saying. I guess someone of who, if there was going to be any deeper questions and stuff, I probably want some of experts that I have here to maybe ask some questions, where you could go a little bit into in a where you can cover your proprietary information in a non-disclosure setting. So that makes sense. I understood.
Okay, thank you, Howard. I'm trying my best to answer the question the
Yeah.
best I can.
So,
So
Johnny,
I'm
this is
sorry.
Eugene.
Okay.
So what about integration with other technologies? So some of the technologies that we've had presented on here, one was Quarks. It actually uses a hardware switch to section off
Yeah.
proprietary data or customer information. I mean, are these kind of things easily integratable into your solution?
That's a good, thank you for asking that question, Eugene. I probably would have forgotten to mention it. We from the ground up, we've designed this system to be very holistic. And again, like at the beginning, we're not trying to compete or get rid of the cloud. We know that lots of people have lots of great ideas and solutions. Our main goal is to take technologies like that and like Dr. Bill Goodman's technologies and offer them a safe place to do business. So we built this from the very ground up, very holistically. We can do Docker Swarm transfer. We can do pretty much every API handshake there is. And so we can bring that in very seamlessly. And we have malware and spyware, pen testing and so forth that we run on the Docker Swarm as transfer. So nothing bad can get into the system. And even if something were to get into the system, it would fail once it got into our ecosystem. They would have to
Okay.
rewrite the code for the malware. So the answer is yes, and the answer is also not only can it, you can run other technologies on this. It's kind of the point of the whole technology is to help other technologies be safe
All right.
from
So let's say we wanted to use this on the JWIX network or on SIPRNet, and but the federal government has a proprietary closed encryption algorithm or whatever you want to, because I'm not an IT guy, so however that would be
right.
translated, can you incorporate that?
Yeah.
So the way that we would incorporate that, Eugene, like our policy is we're very big on First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment right? Your right to privacy, your right to the freedom to, and also pursuit of happiness. So the way it would work for something like that is, um, like I said before, we can't even see your data if we build an ecosystem for you. What we would do is just basically let the whoever it is that's got the zipper, we'll just say DIA only because I come from a long line of so say the DIA wanted to use the system, they could, we would just build the ecosystem for them and they can tell us, make, 7 different ways for us to come in. We don't care. We don't need to know. And they will be able to move over all their IT solution into our ecosystem. And once that happens, we can't see any of the data. We can do support if they give us admin rights. But even if we have admin rights, we still can't see any calls they make. We can't see any of the data they share, any of the, chats or any of the files unless they give us authorization. Admin would only allow us to add more stacks or, add more support, things of that nature. If they want us to add maybe some of our own solutions onto it for them. Outside of that, we can't see their data, and they can also move their system into our system without us knowing what encryption they're using.
Okay, so you have all of that flexibility built into it. That's what I wanted to get across.
Yes, we do. Yeah, it's very, we've worked in the past on a project where we had to deal with three other subcontractors and one prime, and everybody was programming in different languages, so it does work very well. Um, uh,
All right,
in a
I'm gonna.
situation like that.
All right, so I'm gonna let Jason Papafotis. You have a question? I'll let you ask that before I ask my next one.
Sounds good. So I've done a lot of work kind of assessing some blockchain and mesh network types of systems, and just curious as to whether you have developed this entirely proprietary or if you're using a blockchain technology or if it's based on an existing one.
So that there is no blockchain at all, actually.
Cool.
However, we can run blockchain inside of it. It is blockchain friendly.
Nice.
So that was one of the reasons I brought up TradeLens is they were so stuck on it had to be blockchain. And we're small, so we were able to pivot away from that. However, we can run an entire blockchain ecosystem inside of our ecosystem. We actually, I didn't, I was kind of know your audience. We actually have private social media networks that run on this system. We have broadcasting networks that run on this system. So it can, and we have marketplaces in those private social medias that can run Coinbase for payments. And it all is inside of the ecosystem.
Very cool. That's very good to hear from my perspective.
Yeah.
Coming from trying to integrate blockchain solutions and people having different ideas of what that means.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Jason, you don't even know the start of my journey. It took me the first 2 years. Every time I asked a supposed expert in blockchain what blockchain was, they couldn't describe to me what blockchain really was.
I hear that.
Yeah. So we definitely saw the benefits of decentralization and we saw the benefits of blockchain, but we realized how limited blockchain is. One is definitely what we've talked to some people in Europe, and Europe has much stricter environmental laws. And you have to also remember we started out as a maritime company, and iOS 2020, which nobody followed and they haven't really done anything about. Everybody was supposed to go carbon free by 2020 per iOS, International Shipping Organization, and nobody did. I mean, people built scrubbers and all kinds of stuff for ships, and it just fell through. But that we started in 2019, knowing that iOS 2020 was coming up, and we knew that blockchain drains a lot of energy and makes a lot of carbon. Where we wanted a system that was much less. So, like I said, if you were running on one of our systems on smaller devices, I mean, how much does it take to power a Raspberry Pi, a AAA battery? Um, so it's much less power consumption, much less signature as well. Something I probably should have got into with the surveillance as well as communications. When Howard asked, our system does not show a lot of how do I say, it doesn't have a very large signature. So it's really hard, even if you are looking for it, to even know that it's working, because of the decentralized nature of it. Ironically, when you don't use blockchain, you decentralize, it uses a lot less power. Um, I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely, that's great.
Um,
All
this
right, hey
slide,
Johnny, I'm
yeah,
not done yet. So,
okay.
um, automated networks. So the majority of our utility infrastructure is automated networks. Uh,
You're gonna make me
warehouse.
go to the spooky slide. You're gonna make me go
I
to the
am.
spooky slide. Okay,
I
I'm
am.
going. Here we go. CrowdStrike
So,
right here somewhere.
so, so now, and you got Amazon. Amazon's got all the warehouses and somehow, or they know where every damn thing is in every warehouse and how to get it to where it needs to go in the most efficient way possible without human intervention. How can you benefit those networks, those
Okay,
automated networks to keep people out of our power plants, out of our utilities, etc.?
that's a great question, and I actually passed over this slide because I was trying to stay away from the scary, negative slides. So, everybody for a long time, I'm not going to say who, but I know some tier one and tier two operators have had to resort to using WhatsApp and Signal because the communications they were given were being intercepted, and then that got intercepted. What really stands us out between all of this above? I don't really like to call people out, but Signal, WhatsApp, Teams, Google Docs, Meet, MS Teams, AWS Azure, Salesforce, Wiz, Meta, all of those. They all rely on that centralized cloud. Oftentimes, you need a VPN in order to even have security. And VPNs now, I mean, our technology can scoop a VPN and then find out where you are limited so that really slows your encryption speed as well. I don't know if you've ever tried to turn on your VPN and come on a Teams or a Zoom meeting, you'll find that you'll drop or if you're on Signal or WhatsApp and you have your VPN on, it's just terrible and you get the echo and what you're talking about is a single point of control and third-party access. That's the combination. If you see the vulnerabilities right there, Eugene, what's happening, for example, with like SolarWinds, we'll just use the two big ones that everybody on this call probably knows. And right now, everybody's fighting the Typhoon Salt hack. I'm sure you're all struggling to patch, and we don't even know how deep that goes yet. But so what happens is, for example, I'm just gonna pick on Zoom. I apologize only because I was on national news and they asked me to come on and break this down. So I already have the research done. So you have a company like Zoom who has this meeting platform. They made they're too big to fail, kind of like the banks in 2008. And they have contracts with multiple third-party people. Same with AWS, same with Microsoft or Azure, same with Salesforce, Wiz, Meta. And what happens then is, like for example, with Zoom, they have a contract with a call center, data call center company called I would have to go back and watch my interview on Newsmax, but it basically, in order to get revenue from the Zoom platform, they were charging too little for the smaller people. They needed to take data from Zoom calls and then sell it to this company. Another example would be for Meta and WhatsApp. About 8 months ago, Meta sold every single Facebook Messenger call, message, and video to YouTube for targeted advertising. There's no way for you to know if your data is going to be sold or looked at by third parties, which is what gives the back door for all these hackers to come in. That single point of control, right? That single point of control, you have no idea how many third-party accesses are on that single point of control. And I don't know about you guys, but it would have been nice for YouTube or Meta to pay me like at least $15 royalty for all my chats that I had with my family members and videos of Christmas time, for them to target advertise me. So I'm looking for my royalty check from YouTube right now. I haven't got it yet. Um,
Or will you?
I apologize. I don't mean to be cynical. Uh, but what our system, the reason why our system is different is we are decentralized. So, what prevents that from happening is you have all of your data, back on this slide to the right. And if you remember, I asked if you would try to imagine that more 3D. It's more of a honeycomb, right? So if somebody were to even, let's say, one of these systems went down from, there's a lot of military on here. Well, let's say we got hit hard by ICBM, and we lost these guys. That data doesn't just disappear. Well, what happened is, since it's decentralized, it's stored into the stack, and a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and imagine it 3D. What will happen is, it will fill itself back in, just like the reason why I use honeycomb is, if you ever, I grew up, I'm a country boy, but I grew up in the mountains. A bear will, scratch off a big chunk of a honey, the beehive. The bees will actually go back and rebuild that hive exactly the way it was. All the hexagons will look the same and it'll be rebuilt. And it's kind of a symbiosis with the bear and the bees. That's exactly what happened with the system. So if any of the data in this hollow safe is lost, we have the redundancy in the decentralized environment, that it will just fill that back in once this has been cut off and restored, basically. And like I said, there's no third party access whatsoever. So what slide was that? So there's no single point of control. That you control your data from the hollow safe itself. So there's no third party. It's just you. The single point of control is the actual person that owns the data themselves. I hope that
Okay.
answers the question.
No, it did. It did.
Okay. And I didn't mean to get too cynical, but it's
No, you're
yeah,
doing very well. I appreciate that.
yeah, it didn't seem fair to all those people, to me. We have white glove support. Our guys are really dedicated. We're really passionate about what we're doing. I would like to thank Eugene, your platform, everybody on this call, for supporting our country and our constitutional republic. As a veteran, I'm also a 9/11 first responder, so it means a lot to me to even speak with you guys, and it would be an honor to have my fingerprint on any solution to protect that constitutional republic that we all love so much. Um, and with that, I mean, well, here, Eugene, I was actually about to get to it. No third-party access. And we talked about the compliance, regulatory. It's by default because of the way it's set up. It's compliant to I apologize, I'm forgetting the European EDPR or whatever, HIPAA, all of the different personalized data compliance rules and regulations. We also have healthcare applications for this, and we also have a healthcare platform for this as well. And with that, I'm going to, I guess, let the technology speak for itself and ask any question. If anybody has any other questions, I'm happy to answer.
All right. Thank you, Johnny. Great job. Does anybody have any questions right off the bat? Jeremy, Tootin.
I do not.
Okay. But you see where I was going with this? with that question, with the question about infrastructure?
Oh, we can
Not
definitely.
fully.
So I think Eugene was
No,
asking.
I was just talking. No, I was just
Oh.
encrypted communications with Jeremy there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can definitely protect the infrastructure, the power grid system. That's
Okay.
that's
So Corey, you had a question.
I do. I just curious, are you guys already working with the NAVCO3 digital transformation group?
negative. We are not.
Okay. I mean, that's obviously one of the issues we have working with shipyards, with some of our other repair facilities is, you know, we want to bring in all of this new IoT technology, mobile computing, things like that. But yeah, the network infrastructure to put all of that on, especially if you're bringing a bunch of sensors, cameras, microphones, things like that, we need a better way to protect that information. So we're taking the risk off of the fact that we have all those sensors, and we're now transferring that risk to the information system that has to handle all of that captured data.
Right.
So, yeah,
So
I'm looking at
actually
this as
that's exactly what our we were doing with the program that we tested in the contested area. We were using sensors and cameras and taking data and constantly sending it without their knowledge through their own system back to the United States.
okay. Yeah,
So
the
we
physical
can do
security people.
schematics, Corey. We can do CAD files. We can do whatever, and sensors as well. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're interested, maybe Eugene, you can get me and Corey together.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody that chimes in here will get an email tomorrow from me, introducing you. Also, I take the transcript from these conversations and include it in those emails, so you don't have to remember what it was that you were talking about. I'll take care of that for you. All right, so
Thank
next
you.
up is
So
Brett Stewart.
I had a couple questions he can answer later if he wants.
Okay, let me get
Um,
to Brett Stewart first, Steve.
Hey, I put something in the chat because I think this is something we would like to. I'd like to get some of the other engineers to take a look at this. So hopefully you have access to the chat and you can reach out to me.
Yes.
And I know, Eugene, you probably kind of answered it already that you're going to send some information tomorrow. That was it. I just wanted to draw attention to that because, yeah, I do think there's potential interest at FDA.
Yeah, because as long as I have your email and I have your question here, but really I would like to get into what your question is because it's through verbal communications that we're able to identify the aha moments. So if you would not mind, sir.
Main things are along the lines of, releasability. We work a lot with partner nations, so we want to make sure that we can, it sounds like we can, we want to make sure that we can properly tag all the data for, sharing. And we also want to make sure that we can work with CDSs. We want to know what ATOs you already have so we can be fairly certain that, you've already gone through whatever processes are necessary. Obviously, reciprocity is not quite what people think it should be, but it's still helpful to know if you've gone through any other ATOs. We deal with a lot of streaming data. We deal with all kinds of different data. So the questions will more come from my community. I just wanted to hit a couple of the highlights that I'm expecting them to ask.
Okay, yeah, so we do streaming, we do live streaming. Brett, we can uh like I said, we were able to, I mean, the contested area that we were in was not English. I can tell you that. And we were able to, what we basically did was in that scenario is we set up a intelligent dashboard for the headquarters command, the guy in charge, and he would decide who would what analysts would get what we were receiving. So to answer that question, we can do everything you've asked. To answer the ATOs, we have not gone through an official ATO. No.
All right, so
And,
you
oh,
want
and
you do you want to set that
one
up,
last
Brett?
one last thing. That my I use Proton Mail, and for some reason, SOCOM.mil does not let Proton Mail send not it doesn't accept Proton Mail emails. Just FYI. I may have to use my Google to reach out to you, Brett.
No worries. I'll put my company email. I'm a contractor, so I'll put my contractor email. That should be a little bit easier to access, and then
Okay.
we'll figure out a way.
Awesome.
Okay, Steve Moretto, you're up next, sir.
All right, so I love the constitutional rights and everything. I was just thinking back when the FBI wanted to get access to the Apple phone of somebody's, and they couldn't figure out how to hack into it. Um, to what extent could the government get in there and get at people's data, through, whatever subpoena or hacking or whatever? What safeguards are against it, and could they even get in there if you wanted them to, let's
Um,
speak?
that's a great question. And the answer is the data is impossible for even us to get into it. The only person that it could get in, so let's say the FBI, I mean, say I sold an instance to Eugene and FBI said, "Hey, Eugene's using your technology to break the law." If they provide us proof, we'll obviously turn off the technology. And they'll have to subpoena Eugene to get that technology to get the data because, like we said, we can't see. We actually did a beta test of one of our social networks, and the reason why we made it private social networks is because of the beta test. We tried to see if the public would do this. At first, it was really cool. It was mostly small companies and artists and selling music and like necklaces and paintings and like essential oils. It was very hippity dippity happity. And one morning I woke up and my treasurer was like, "We made $17,000 in like 15 minutes." And I was like, "Well, what happened?" And he's like, "Turn on your, we called it Haven Connect." And a bunch of Russian women turned it into a pornography site overnight. So we immediately turned it off and decided that we only do B2B. So unless you're a trusted business or organization, we just won't sell our technology to you. I hope that answers the
Oh,
question.
okay. But how do you know if they're using what they're using it for once they get into the trusted area?
Well, if, for example, I we sell this to I'll go with since I'm a Marine, I'm gonna go with my favorite, Marine Corps Raiders. Uh I don't want to know what the Marine Corps Raiders are doing because they are protecting my country, and the more people that know, the more dangerous it is. They need that data to be safe to do their job.
Right. Okay. I guess the second question is, what was, like the evolution? How hard was it to get to this point, and how hard is it to replicate? It's like one company that has a unique technology, they were saying, well, they got to have a team of 12 people, do 6 other successful projects that went out to, that were sold. And then the seventh one that they did built on the previous six, and that another large $1 trillion company decided to license with them because it was impossible for them to reproduce because 40 years and 400 man hours had gone into building this software. What sort of is your story sort of the same, or how easily could it be replicated? You know, you said something earlier about mentioning some little detail. Is it that sensitive where somebody else could replicate it?
Um, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. The journey that we've done is nothing. I'm a Christian and I believe God did this. We set out, like I said, to do a TOS and port community systems platform, and it turned into this. It was by chance of us. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We didn't set out to reinvent the wheel. We set out to do to give people their First and Fourth and Fifth Amendment right back, and in a responsible, ethical way. And this is what for lack of a better term, God put in my lap and made me the steward of. And I have to give credit to my team. It's definitely not easy to replicate unless you were to be able to find a bunch of crazy tech cowboys like I did and have the same situations and obstacles that we came across. I would say that it's very difficult to replicate unless you were to waterboard us and all. And I'm not saying anything even if you waterboard me. A handful of my guys might break.
Okay.
All right.
That's it.
So, was that it, Steve?
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
like to say also, Steve, that like we wouldn't for some of our private social media platforms, for example, if somebody was using it for nefarious means, we don't give them the Budweiser, we give them the Bud Light, so we can keep eyes on and we have ways our AI can monitor nefarious. We can pre-program. We actually do pre-program our AI to let the admin know if something funky is going on, and then we can go and look into that. However, we can provide a complete private where we can't even see the data, so we can kind of like customize it. So if you have a use case where you want to be able to have more transparency, we can do that as well.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Johnny. Jason, you're up. Papa Photos.
Sure. So, in the interest of verbalizing the ideas to see what sticks to the wall out there, there was an FNC that O&R put out not long ago about better ways for all the unmanned systems to communicate with each other. So, Steve, that's another good PEO USC use case, especially with PMS 406, which does the unmanned systems technologies. They have been desperate for a while for better ways for unmanned systems to communicate with each other and to share data across like several UUVs doing operations underwater, for instance.
Yeah.
So, Johnny, I don't know. I assume that this would be ideal for that as well, for the unmanned systems to communicate and handle large data sets from scanning the ocean floor and other similar use cases. And that might be a really good place where Steve or anybody else from NAVSEA might be able to put you in front of PMS 406 in particular.
Actually, Jason, that's actually our system would be perfect for that. I mean, it was literally designed to track, stevedore and maritime operations from the beginning. So we have logistical tracking. We've done multiple tests on our tracking and logistics, to the point where I had my teenage son, running around the woods across the street from my house, and we narrowed it down to around 7 inches, which is way better than what you get from Google Maps or from pretty much anybody else. And that is also, there was a question, I believe it was Howard, about spoofing. That's one of the ways that we keep people from spoofing. Every single device is being tracked 100% of the time. If you want it to be, that's a customization. You can turn the tracking off if you like. But yes, we could absolutely do that. And there needs to be no human interaction whatsoever. You can basically let the AI of the unmanned vehicles talk to each other and communicate in the ecosystem.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should follow up on that in particular. I did all the work for PEO USC, which Steve Moretto still with. So we have some good avenues to circle back on that.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason.
Sure.
Yeah, and I want to see. Yeah, make sure, John, that you get me your slides because there's people at NIST, OUSD that I'm going to want to get this in front of DLA. I think that the R&D group would be very interested in this.
Right. Okay. I'll as soon as we get off, Eugene, I'll send you all the slides.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And
So, Howard,
are we
put something
talking
in the
to the
chat.
U.S. Air Force? No, I have a lot of friends in the Air Force, but we're not talking in the Air Force. I basically grew up on Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. But no, negative, Howard. We are not speaking with the Air Force.
Okay, I'd be interested in following up with you and maybe getting some other people to see this and interact with you on this because the last use case that you talked about, I think is exceptionally important. The Air Force is considering the use of collaborative combat aircraft.
Yes.
And the question always comes out, well, what happens if somebody hacks inside your CCA, which is carrying weapons,
Yes.
and starts launching your own weapons at you, those types of things. So,
Yeah.
so I mean, those types of use cases, and there are a variety of other types of use cases. So I'm just interested who we can get engaged and to see if there's some opportunity space here.
Absolutely, I would love to. The Air Force, there's a running joke in the enlisted veteran community. They all say the reason why the U.S. Air Force is spending a ton of money on Gen 6 and the Chinese Air Force is spending zero money is because the Chinese are just going to hack ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the correlate, I went to a retired officers association dinner years ago and was the only Air Force officer there, and everybody's going around the room saying, I retired from the Army after this, or I retired from the Marine Corps after this, and I was the last person to go, so I wanted to lighten the atmosphere in the room. I said, well, I retired from the PGA 4 years ago, so.
Well, Howard, as a terminal lance corporal with no good cookie, I hats off to the Air Force. Nothing sounds more beautiful when you're in a hard spot than Bert.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Does
John,
Steve still have another
clearances?
question for us?
I don't think so.
Oh,
Do you have any more
okay.
questions, Steve? No.
Okay.
Do you have clearances and the ability or access to a skiff?
We do not. The project we worked on was clandestine, and we were a subcontractor. We were not the prime.
Okay, because yeah, I
So
want to get it. And Howard, you might be able to help me here, but I want to get this in front of Space Force Futures Command.
Yeah, we can talk. We can talk about that.
Maybe Pearl, Major Pearl. Well, I don't know if she's still a major. She might be a.
I don't know if she's not still. I don't know if she's still in the 5-7.
Okay.
And with obviously there's a lot of things happening with the ICC being stood up and everything. So
Right.
So
Yeah, I saw
because
Brian Bohan was on here, but I'm thinking he's Air Force Futures and not Space Force Futures.
yes, he is Air Force Futures, and I believe Brian's one who's staying in the 5-7. He's not going over to the ICC, if I'm correct. So
Okay, yeah, but if you can help me get this information in front of Space Force Futures, I know of some projects that we can't discuss here that would be applicable.
yeah, no, there, yeah, obviously, yeah.
which is the beauty of our system. We can't see your data, so you don't have to worry about us saying anything.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we're 11 minutes past. I appreciate everybody. One last call for questions. Let me look in the chat here.
Well, Eugene, I want to thank you very much, and I want to thank everybody for listening to me flap my gums. I appreciate it.
Hey, not a problem. We're always open to great solutions. Okay, so thank you, everybody.